See. All right. Looks like we're feeding out to the folks out there. Um, Let us know how we're coming out. If audio, all that kind of stuff is good, so we can make adjustments if need be. First, let me start with this. Welcome to the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Listen, we paid money to People Magazine, and they came back and said that the Who Moved My Freedom podcast is actually the sexiest man alive in all the fantasy realms. They checked all fantasy realms. Okay, they checked Wakanda. You know, they checked Zamunda. They checked the Smurf Village, Hogwarts. Right, all the fantasy realms. You name it. If you name a fantasy realm, we are the sexiest man alive. We're not even a man. We're an organization over here, a show, a podcast. I'm a man. My guests are men. There's some men and women out there. You guys should be watching the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Hank Strange. I'm going to remind everyone to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for the email list over there, check out Lola's deals. Lola's working on that all the time, improving that for you guys, posting up good deals. In the Strangerholics tab, you can also find all the different places on like all the different platforms we're on. There's a link to Ballistic Ink on there. That's where you can get your Lot Lao shirts. That stands for Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded. That's what we are and what we do over here. That being said, also let me not forget this. Make sure you guys check out U.S. Law Shield. I've got the Florida gun law book. Do you have one of these, Puerto Rican Pistolero?
Yes, we do.
There you go. I figured that you would actually have one of these.
Mm-hmm.
But check out U.S. Law Shield. There's a link in the description. You guys can go there, get some good deals. Sign up for that. Also, send a couple of shekels our way. Let me throw my guests up in here and kick off the opening. And here we go.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange situation.
Okay, guys, don't forget to
Lifestyles of the
subscribe,
Locked and Loaded.
smash the thumbs ups, ring the bell so you can be notified when we're live. We are live. Cigars are getting, or whatever that is. I'm not going to judge. Everything's getting sparked up. We're live. Come on, let's see jazz hands. Let's see jazz hands if hands are available. Mr. Coolio Smooth. Okay, hold on a second. You got to keep the jazz hands going, Tony. There you go. Coolio Smooth. Tony Simon, there's his jazz hand. We also got Puerto Rican Pistolero. Oh, wait a second, you don't like that one?
That's horrible.
That's old school.
That's
old school.
Coolio Smooth.
Do you remember, sir, Coolio Smooth?
Coolio Smooth.
You know darn well you are from the Coolio Smooth generation. Don't even.
Might as well call me Leroy Jenkins.
Listen, we are live. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is episode 757. That's right, 757. That's an airline, isn't it? Airliner?
It's a plane, yeah.
Yeah.
Boeing makes it.
Yeah, 757. My guests are Tony Simon of 2A4E. Second Amendment for everyone. Tony, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. We are really, really busy here. Working on getting. I started this thing in 2015, and until 2020, I was doing it every other month in New Jersey. We've grown to the point we're doing it multiple times a month, and we're in Pennsylvania and multiple locations in Jersey.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations to you. Also joining us, Puerto Rican Pistolero is in the house. What's up? PRP.
How's it going?
Good, man. Glad to have you guys here. The show is
Oh, it's a
sponsored.
pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. It's Friday. I'm glad Lola made this combination because I'm kind of. You guys are gonna have to, people. I don't know whether people could tell or not, but I'm kind of low energy. So, So I need you guys to lend some energy here. Everyone out there, smash the thumbs ups. It's Friday, for crying out loud. Okay, don't make us come over there and put the smackdown on you. Smash those thumbs ups, ring the bell, share it out to your folks, all that kind of stuff. These guys will make this a special Friday.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So many different places that we could start here, but let me see.
Special fuel coming up.
Oh boy. He's
Hey, you
crossing
didn't
the
tell me.
streams. He's crossing the streams. Oh man, Tony's cross. Ooh, he's going
He's going all in.
straight to the head.
Hey, dude, you're gonna do it. Do it.
Yeah. Special K says, have you guys talked about what happened to Kentucky ballistics?
Yeah, the chat is
We should.
talking about. I was just talking about that with Joe before
Yeah.
we came on. Actually,
You guys want to start there? Who wants to fill everyone in? Tony, are you familiar with what's going on?
Yeah, actually, and I've shot one of the rifles that he had blow up on him, which is a Serbu. What was it, SB-50? I think that's the name of it.
Right.
And he was using slap rounds, which I think are like the armor piercing rounds from the latest generation of armor piercing rounds. So he wasn't using regular, the 50 BMG you pick up at Walmart. And sadly, after 3 or 4 rounds, the rifle exploded, hurt him badly. On a Serbu, you screw the back of the breech on. That's how that works. It's pretty much a tube with a breech in the AR-15 lower.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, actually.
And he screws it in.
Yeah.
And the thing explodes and shears all the threads, sends the breech itself, or the butt plate, whatever you call that, into his face, breaks his orbital bones all around here, and where it connects to the AR-15 lower, sends that into his jugular. So of course he goes down because he got punched in the face. His dad is there, who also is named Scott, and his dad, helps him come through and says, "You got a hole in your neck." He shoves his thumb in his own neck to apply pressure, and they get him in his vehicle, and his dad's driving him to the hospital when Scott, Kentucky Ballistics, decides to call 911 and meet them halfway to the hospital in the ambulance. The ambulance takes him straight to the hospital. They do a life flight, and he stays in the hospital for over a week, I think, until they let him go. His fingers ruined. They had to put pins in, I guess, multiple fingers from the video I watched. Not just his
that
thumb.
video is. I looked at that video. I don't want to see that video again.
No, you watched a dude miss death by this much.
Yeah.
They had to put multiple units of blood. 7, 8.
Yeah, I'm rolling in pictures right now. So just to show you guys, this is serious. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he put this out there. I know it was tough. It was emotional to put this stuff up there for everyone. And forgive me for showing this to folks out there. He is okay. He he's recovered now to put the video out, but he came really, 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 really close to losing his life. I mean, really close.
And when you think about it, because people try, and including him, he's trying to make sense of it. What did I do wrong? What could have prevented this? And he came to the conclusion, which pretty much any of us who shoot surplus ammunition can. You can't tell how it was stored. You can't tell if anybody maybe had some real slap rounds or put some together. You know what I mean? And did their own hand loading. You have no idea, and it almost killed him. And did he go back out there and shoot again? Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's aware that, and he's a Christian, and he talked about it, and he said, God saved his life. I mean, that's the only reason he's alive. And I thought that was cool. I heard some negativity on he should never have done this because now he's going to be the new Tech Scrubner. And I'm like, not really.
What is that? Okay, you're going to have to clue me in on.
Okay, I'm sorry. If you know Tech Scrubner, he's a YouTuber. Had a dorky reputation, chubby guy. Used to wear a cowboy hat. Had a big old Tom Selleck old school mustache. Like, what's the lead singer of Queen? Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
He had a Freddie Mercury. Yeah. He had a Freddie Mercury mustache. Chubby dude, and he was doing quick draw with his 1911 and shot himself through his leg while he was making the review, and said, "Oh, I shot myself through my damn leg or something." And then he limped off and said, "I got to call my mom." And it just became this meme in the firearms industry and gun people. And they were like, "Oh, Scott just did this to himself." And I'm like, nah, it's totally different. He didn't mishandle anything. Truthfully, it's just a lesson, man. And he called Mark Serbu, who makes the rifle that he used, and a 50 cal. Okay, these are his numbers. I thought they were higher. he said a 50 cal is like 50,000 psi in the chamber, and Mark said for that to shear completely off and hit him in the face like it did, it had to be over 80,000 psi. So
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff on this. Did you want to add something to this, Rolando, before?
No, Tony, that was the
Yeah,
whole
I think
story.
so. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the thing, as Tony is saying here, and I see someone, who is it? Alan Powell says it was both the gun and the ammo. The ammo was incorrectly loaded, and the gun didn't have proper design to keep the shooter safe during catastrophic failure. If you look at the video, I think that Kentucky Ballistics, said the opposite of that. And obviously, this is all opinion, so now everyone's gonna. What is the saying? Monday night quarterback?
Monday morning quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Man.
There you go. Everyone's going to probably try to jump on it, including us. And I think that's fine. I don't think it's a crime to do that. I kind of agree with him that if I think he did more than 3 rounds, right? For me, looking at that video, he did maybe 5 or 6. I think the last one, like, he kept going, okay, I'm going to do another one. And there was something weird going on, and he really couldn't figure it out. And I think he said that that it was because that whole thing happened because of the muzzle device, right, on the 50, and that round probably hit it, and all this back pressure, whatever happened there, right, and the gun blew up. But so we all run the risk when we make video shooting guns of bad things happening, and this is kind of like the nightmare. And if you shoot guns enough, bad stuff is going to happen. It's like numbers, and you try to do everything you could do to mitigate the risk that you're taking and all that kind of stuff. But the numbers of you doing something over and over again, bad things are going to happen. Actually, guns are going to explode. I've had guns explode on me before. Not as big as this. That is part of the factor here of shooting a big gun. If things go wrong, a smaller gun, you're going to be a little bit safer because the parts are smaller and the pressures and all of that. But it could definitely happen. He's really fortunate in lots of ways. If he didn't have on eye protection to even try to slow that thing down, I think he's blind in that eye, in the right eye, right now temporarily.
Said it's blurry, but yeah.
Yeah, but vision is coming back to him. Could have been a lot worse than that, man. But and it could just here's my thing. It could happen. I think I kind of agree with him that it's not his fault so much. It's not necessarily the gun. It's this is like an old surplus round, and you don't know what you're getting. And I think we all mess around and do that, right? So there's all the things that you could go, hey, when this thing is going wrong, maybe you stop, maybe you take a look at this. All of those things I think are valid, but in the nature of us doing what we do, all it takes is you missing 1 or 2 things of like warning signs of what's going on and stuff goes wrong. So I agree with that aspect of it. I don't know if I've ever fired that kind of 50. I don't think so. That kind of what do you call it? Slap round?
Yeah, slap round.
Yeah, explain that to me again, what that is.
It's an armor piercing round. It's the newest generation of armor piercing round.
Okay.
I've only read about it, tertiary. You know how you fall down the information rabbit hole on the internet,
Right.
and you clicked on 50 BMG, and then you end up clicking on different things. And I think the slap round came out of Germany, but that's what it was used for. I think I looked it up because I saw it on sale once, but it's $100 a round.
Jeez. Okay, wow. I will probably never shoot that round unless it's someone else's.
Exactly.
So he was shooting that because he was shooting at a fire hydrant. Like it's, man, I think that ultimately here you could just, this kind of stuff could just happen. If you do it often enough, it could just happen. I think that if you want to talk about the gun, I have to first tell everyone I'm not a fan of Serbu or necessarily that particular gun. It's kind of, I don't think Serbu actually made that gun. What's the name of that kid that used to just build his own guns, and this is the gun that he designed. I think Serbu bought the design from him or something like that.
Oh,
You guys
really?
remember that? What was the name of
The
that?
guy got
Do
he
you
got
remember
pulled
that?
off of YouTube, right?
I think he sold his channel to Serbu, from what I heard,
Oh, okay.
and walked away from everything, or something weird like that happened. But someone will tell me out there the name of what's the name of that guy? I can't remember. I cannot exactly remember his name now. But this is the kid who always built guns, which I'm with that. You know, he always designed and built his own things. I'm with that. But the idea, so this is one thing I know about engineering, because you know this is like the degrees that my dad had, and he kind of drummed it into my head. Um, the point of least resistance comes into play when guns blow up like this, right? So the fact that you're unthreading and threading back in where that round is going into every time, I think it probably raises the likelihood that something like, if something goes wrong, something like this is going to happen, because that is the point of least resistance.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's a tube and it has a breech. I mean, that's it.
yeah, yeah,
It's either front end or coming back in your face.
hmm
And I
Yep.
found that crazy. And like, yeah, you were right. He was shooting it, and the point of impact kept changing.
yeah,
And when you're shooting a 22, that's no big deal. But when you're shooting a 50,
yeah,
well, that's a whole different world.
yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm genuinely, like, first of all, I'm really happy that this guy survived, made it, and put this video out there. It's cautionary for everyone to think about that, you know. And I agree with, like I said before, I agree with what he's saying. I'm just, you know, those of us who are looking at this from the outside, yeah, it's easy for us to go, oh yeah, I would have, you know, I would have done something about that. In the process of making videos, all the different things going on in your mind, you know, not actually seeing 100% what's happening downrange. I think when you look at the video he edited together, he was making a shot, going down there and looking at stuff. You don't necessarily put everything together. So from us looking at this, is all I'm trying to say. I have no blame for him or anyone else. If you are, from looking from our point of view, it's cautionary. If one, a crazy ass round like that, don't shoot through a gun like this. Don't shoot it through the most. This is probably like in the ranking of 50 BMG rifles. This
I'll
is
give you the
probably
price.
the least expensive.
I'll give you the price, $850 when they first came out.
Yeah. So it's
A
not.
Barrett's 8,000.
Yeah, Barrett's
Yep.
8,000. You know, the SHTF 50 from Safety Harbor Firearms could potentially be somewhere between 1,500, 2,500. It's bolt action. It's made completely differently. You know, the nature of how this gun is made, I don't think I would mix. I wouldn't even put stuff that someone loaded 50 BMG into there unless I knew who that person was and how good they were and I really trusted them. Other than that, I would just shoot like regular ammo through it. If you're going to shoot some kind of crazy ammo like this, that's probably not the gun to shoot it through.
I understand what you talk about, and I agree with you. It's not even kind of
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
When things go through military testing, all right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's the strength I'm looking for with something like this,
Mhm.
if I'm going to use it. But again, for someone as tactically thrifty as myself, you will not see me firing $100 rounds of anything anywhere,
Yeah.
unless it's someone else's.
Yeah. Agent Entropy says hospital stay 800,000. Oh my gosh. Wow. I wouldn't even want to see that bill. But
Wow.
what I mean, we don't know if that's the price of the hospital stay, right? I wouldn't even want to see that bill, but I could tell you this, it don't matter.
Yeah.
When they bring a helicopter in, I'm sure it's big. We're
Yeah.
talking rapper money now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. He's alive. His family is thankful for that. I'm sure he's thankful for that. You know, it doesn't really matter.
Not at all.
No, it doesn't really matter until later. At some point you go, oh, right? If you, hopefully he
You got to
had,
sell a lot of T-shirts.
hopefully he's got coverage and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, it's expensive to do all that stuff. Man, the big thing I could say about this from my point of view of making gun videos, this is like my biggest nightmare. Two things in here. One, I always worry because sometimes I do this. I go out and shoot on my own because there's the pressure of, oh, I got to get this video done for whatever reason, and I go do it on my own, And I always worry about that. Like, if something happens, and from what he said, and if you look at that thing, it, like, man, that was a
Yeah.
crazy, like, that gun grenaded, you know. And so he said he went down on, like, his hands and knees, but he didn't, he was in too much shock to know what was going on with him. And as Tony said, if his dad wasn't there paying attention, you know, yeah, bleeding out is how you go out, you know.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I worry about that, and I would say to people, if you can, when you go out there to shoot, you gotta have a shooting buddy, if it's possible.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
look, use this entire thing as a cautionary tale about what to do, what not to do. Because I don't think the guy did anything horribly unwise that anyone else would have done. I don't think he was reckless. It was just almost like tolerance stacking. It was this decision on top of this decision on top of this decision, and everything was a little off to almost lead to death.
There was nothing there, like, even though, like I said, from us looking, knowing what happened, the fact that the gun was shooting off, oh, that's a signal. But if you're in the moment of that, it's probably not a signal.
Yeah.
It's like, I got surplus ammo. I'm shooting it through this rifle. Maybe it's just, the spin is not right. Maybe, who knows? You say all kinds of things. I mean, we've all shot lower caliber stuff that act goofy.
Yep. And sometimes it's like you said, you can look at it, well, the gun's $850. Is that $850 quality? Or could it be not the gun, but it's not going to be that accurate for an $850 gun? Like, there's something that's going to give.
That's perspective.
You're going to lose somewhere. Yeah, you're going to lose somewhere. So
850,
either
what he
it's
did,
not.
what they did with
And you're
G's, they
using
put a
surplus
pre-sale.
ammo.
They put a pre-sale out, and they were like, pre-sale is $850, but the rifle itself is like $1,600.
I don't.
If you bought it after it came out.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't know what it is, but I'm not trying to. So the thing is that it's perspective on 850, right? To some people, 850 is cheap. To some people, it's expensive. Let's put it in the category of 50. That's why I said category of 50 BMG rifles. It's probably on the entry level, money wise, end of it. When, as Tony said, like Barrett's, and then there's I've shot 50 BMG guns that are 10 grand. There's a whole big mass, and this gun's more expensive than that, right? Maybe 20 grand or whatever it is. So that's the scale of it. I think ultimately the design of that gun, with where the back screws in, and that's where you're putting your round, is not conducive to being able to handle pressure. Yeah, it's gonna vent right there.
Where does it vent? Yeah. And again, I'm not a weapons designer at all, and I'm Monday morning quarterbacking like everyone else. But I'm thinking I would have shot the Walmart rounds only because it's American Eagle. You know what I mean? That's from Federal. Cool, but when you get into the Armory again, he was trying to go for around.
He was trying to go for the hydrant, right? To the pursuit of making a cool video, which I'm not knocking him for. It's like the audience out there wants to see the badass cool videos, right? So so I'm not trying to say that it's wrong for him to go in that direction. There's a reason why he's very popular. I don't know Kentucky, but I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have his number or anything. Last time I saw him somewhere was at the Gundies, and he was really nice. He's a really nice guy, very humble and all that kind of stuff, and talks to anyone, and he's a cool dude. It's just that this is the job. This is the job that he's chosen to do, and this is how he's doing it. And it's just, what I'm trying to say about this is probably what's going to happen if something goes wrong with this. Like, so for example, a lot of people don't like bullpups, right? Because they say, oh well, if the bullpup, just the whole design of it, your face is right there, if something goes wrong, that's that could be a bad day for you. Well, if you look at most bullpups, the design of where that pressure is going to go if something goes wrong is not actually going to blow up in your face like that. Okay? Because that's the strongest point of the gun. So for example, Babyface had actually a bullpup that I sold him from RFB, and he put a hot load in there, and it blew the butt pad out, because that was the weakest point. All the pressures, the gas pressures went there, blew out the butt pad, right? So, and I think I've even seen that in other guns that I've shot. Something went wrong, pressures were wrong, or something like that. So that's the problem, though. Like, what happened here is something went wrong that you cannot predict. You don't know you're walking into, and pressure works like that. You know, they say, like, Jamaicans say this. This is where I got it from. Pressure bust pipes.
Pressure bust pipes. Yep.
Pressure bust pipes. Yeah.
What is this gun? A pipe.
But it's funny when people, because it gets me. I'm a contrarian, so sometimes when people say something, I just reverse it. And people always say that about, well, your face is right there. I'm like, my face is right there. Almost every gun I have, my face is right there. My AR, my face is right there. My handgun, my face is right there. It's not against the gun, but like that slide's coming directly back to my face when I have a sight. We all take that chance, but the design, like I've heard about people shooting, they dropped a 40 into a 9. You know what I mean? And somehow it went off
300 blackout and
300 blackout.
Yeah.
And what it does is blow out the mag, because that's set up to have that happen. They have the weak points built in, almost like what do you call them? Crush zones on a car, on newer cars. Same thing. So with this by your face, there was nowhere
he got hit with everything. If you look at that, that's why I said I can't really. That's tough to look at, because he got hit with everything. He got hit with the cap, right? That's one. The lower just grenaded. The stock came at him.
And came at him at the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, dude. I'm not watching it again. I'm just not.
No,
I watched it and it was nope.
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale, though, that we should just all be careful. Try to look out for each other. If you notice something that someone else doesn't while they're shooting, at least speak up and go, "Hey, we might want to stop and think about what's going on here, or what we're doing, or what we're shooting." Yeah.
Forget the light.
And I think
just hold on. Yeah.
I think it's a good lesson now too, especially because if it's a lesson that if somebody like Kentucky, who obviously does this all the time, can still be victim to, maybe it was bad ammo that he bought, maybe it was a freak round. How is it for all these new gun owners out there that are buying ammo? They're desperate to buy it, they can't find it, and how many people are peddling bad ammunition out there possibly? So that's something to watch out, or cheap ammo and things like that. So it's just something else to look out for. And like you said, have a shooting buddy, and just be careful with what you're shooting, especially surplus stuff. If it's been stored for decades, like some of this stuff that you buy sometimes, be careful.
Yeah, I was actually teaching a class, and we had an SKS, my SKS out there. And the bolt came apart, like blew apart inside the gun. And we're like, what the hell happened? And then that's what happened. And this is a Yugo, SKS military surplus using the 7.62x39 regular ammo. And it just boom. Now I was able to go get another bolt, put it in, but I still keep that bolt because it had stretched out, ovaled out, and that's a dependable firearm. That's a military surplus firearm that's built to take abuse. But then if you think about it, I think mine was from 56.
Yep.
That's half a century, dude. I have no idea who used it, who bubbled it.
What's the metallurgy?
What's the metallurgy? You never know.
Listen,
or even if that bolt was from the original gun, it could have been taken from some other surplus gun and thrown in there too.
Yeah.
Well, right now it has a bolt from a Chinese gun. So it's what it is.
There you go.
Yeah, listen, these aren't toys. Even in the movies, they seldom take the risk of shooting like live rounds like we do often when we're out there shooting, whether you're making videos or not. It's just a risk that you step in there and you take. You need to be careful. Things can happen. And so many different things. I know I see some people out there saying, and I've heard it in the stuff, like I posted a funny meme to try to kind of make fun of him a little bit, but at the same time congratulate him on surviving that whole thing and then putting it out. And then people were saying, well, I wouldn't shoot 50. I shoot 50 all the time, probably more than he does. And I know that's like a big, I know that's
Humble
like a
brag.
that's a big YouTuber and all that kind of stuff, but it's and 50 is not a fun round necessarily. It's fun to shoot, right? But there's a lot involved in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But things could go wrong in so many ways that I don't think it's just a 50. Things can go wrong with anything. Things can go wrong with a 22, with
Mm-hmm.
anything, and something bad could happen and come out of it. And ultimately, if you did all the right things, like for him, the things that were great was that his dad was there, and they both had some kind of understanding of medical, like emergency medical response, and they did the right things. They didn't wait. They started moving. He blocked where most of the blood was coming out from, all that kind of stuff. Um, it's just one of those things that should tell us we probably all need to do more medical stuff
Yep.
and be more
Definitely.
careful, and just yeah, man. I think ultimately it just comes up to the universe, God, whatever you believe in, that your time was not written on the scrolls, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and
So,
I agree with you 100%, dude. We all need to not only have medical, but have our friends and the people we shoot with have it too.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you train in it, you might not fall apart when the poop hits the fan. You just watched an explosion. I mean, that was his dad, bro. You just watched an explosion happen in your son's face. He's
Mm-hmm.
pumping blood out of his jugular, and he kept it together. Everyone
his
kept it
dad is
together.
badass. I don't
Yep.
I've never met him, but this is a badass dude.
Yeah, man, not falling apart. Just
hmm
like getting help, doing the right thing.
That the
That's a
dad
lot of it.
the dad programming kicked in, man.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, precautionary tale, but get some training so you're not guessing what to do. Also have a plan.
hmm
If this happens, this is the medical kit over here. Like, what do you know how to do when you're watching a jugular go? He did the right thing, direct pressure, shoved his finger in it,
Yeah.
held it down, and also, could I say one more thing? Get
hmm
modern medical training.
hmm
I had my Marine Corps medical training, but in the time from when I was in the Corps till I got out, tourniquets went from you only use a tourniquet in the worst case scenario at the
hmm
last possible minute to you put a tourniquet on immediately.
Yeah.
And that's a 180-degree shift, which something
Yep.
they told us would kill you. So I'm like, get
Yeah.
modern medical training. Don't depend on what you heard in the Boy Scouts in 1992. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Listen, when did you go into the Marines? Just out of curiosity.
88.
88. Okay. Yeah, that's when I was graduating high school. I mean, we were just a couple of years before we got into the 80s. They were still putting ice picks in people to treat them. It's witch
Them,
doctory. This is how fast
Mm-hmm.
medicine changes.
it
Yep.
changed quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated at 17. I turned 18 in boot camp.
hmm
So things have changed quickly. And again, they told us to use a belt as a tourniquet. And now, I mean, I carry a tourniquet, an actual tourniquet with me because I know a belt. It's kind of sucky at it. I mean, that's the worst ditch medicine,
hmm
worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get training, please. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of it's free, a lot of it's inexpensive. Some of it you can even pull up on YouTube. I'm not saying it's as good, but at least you have an idea of something.
Yeah. And I would just say, man, I don't see anything like super bad on his part in that video. So I hope people don't like get into all that kind of stuff. I think ultimately you do these videos, you take risks. You shoot guns, you take risks, right? You do
Yep.
these
Yep.
videos, you take risks. Um, you know, it's just the nature of the game. And the more you do it, the more you get into this stuff. So,
Vanessa Kitty said something that I think is pretty important. She
yeah.
said she's used her medical training way more, since
hmm
she got out,
hmm
and I have too. I
hmm
have too, and I think you don't know. Like
Yeah.
the first time I had to use medical training, I was 16, and my mom was taking me to school, and we witnessed a car accident. And
hmm
this is before there were cell phones, so my mom had to leave. She left me there with the lady who had the accident, who was bleeding profusely from her forehead.
Wow.
Um, but it had stopped, but it was still over her face. And my whole job in my mind was to stop her from going into shock.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we sat there and we had a conversation.
Keep her
and
talking.
stay calm.
Yep.
And she stayed talking until the ambulance arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that was because I'd read first aid books and I was a reader as a kid, a lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that shock is one of the biggest killers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep people occupied, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I did. And that was the first time. And I've done it many times since. A lot of us go, well, if you put holes in people, you have to be able to, stop holes, after
Mhm.
someone gets wounded.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, it's car wrecks. It's your kid falling
anything,
on a
yeah.
playground. It's
Yeah.
anything. People get hurt.
Stuff is
This
coming
is
at
training.
you every day, man. Every day there's stuff we do.
And as gun
Cooking.
people, and as gun
Mhm.
people, we are good guys. We do stuff that a good guy does. Well, don't
Mhm.
you want to be even more useful to your society and your neighborhood just
Mhm.
by having this ability that you may never use, but you may have to at the drop of a hat?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I would just say, man, of all the shooting and stuff like that people do in the gun community, for lots of different reasons, right? The people that we don't see and the people that we see, all the training, the videos, the different things that are happening. Thankfully, we don't actually see. There's probably something happening every day, but we don't really see bad things like this happening all the time. It's just one of those things, and absolutely, every single day life
Mm-hmm.
is more dangerous, and anything can
Oh, yeah.
happen to you at any moment.
When I think even in the context of shooting too, we're more likely, we do competition shooting, things like that. I've gotten hit by shrapnel, several times shooting steel in competitions and things like that. And I'm just some, person that's done it a few times just as a hobby. So the more that you do it, the more exposure you're going to get, and you're more likely to get cut and have to use your first aid or something like that just from that going on. And even in competition shooting, a lot of people reload their own ammo. So you're more likely to have squib rounds or things explode. I've seen it happen before too. And so it's part of the territory, and you just have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And let's
And
admit,
not be afraid to
we're
talk
po-
about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I think
And we're
sometimes as
also a
gun
part.
people, oh, sorry, Tony. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Um,
You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes as gun people, we're afraid to talk about anything that like sheds any negative light on shooting or the dangers of it, because we're always so afraid that the other side will use any sort of negativity against us. Like they're already willing to lie, so why give them ammunition? But you have to let people know. That's like being a car enthusiast and telling people like, well, if you drive without a seatbelt and you go over the speed limit on like normal roads, you're asking for bad things to happen to you. It's the same thing. It doesn't mean that's not saying anything bad about driving or enjoying fast cars. It's just the truth. So you got to treat people like adults. It's like you whether you want to be honest about it or not, you're dealing with something that's literally causing an explosion inside of a pipe that's shooting a piece of metal out at thousands of feet per second. Like that's a crazy thing, and you have it right next to you. So things can happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. And things can happen just by you being alive and getting up
Yep.
every day, breathing. Even if you try to stay in the house, plane could fall out of the sky or whatever. So
Yep.
exactly.
And also, we're part of one of the safest sports out there. I mean, the firearms related sports, very, very safe.
Yep.
Stuff happens.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, I don't want to just
Yeah.
keep pushing that. I am genuinely happy that he's okay. He's pretty badly beat up there, obviously, but he's okay. He got back on that horse. He's still, he's out there shooting. He's gonna keep doing his thing. You guys will still see videos from him. You could go out there and support him. I think CJ that said that I know he's selling a shirt. I saw that in the video. What is it, like keep a thumb in it or something, or just put a thumb
in it.
Yeah. If you guys want to support him or whatever, just look at the videos, and encourage him to come back. The biggest thing in this whole industry that keeps me doing this is the folks out there, the actual people who appreciate what we all do you know, the people who, when they see you, they encourage you, or the people who look at the videos and leave comments and all that kind of stuff. That's the biggest thing. So if you guys want to, you know, do something to help out, there's a whole range of those kinds of things that you could do, starting with just encouragement. So I'll put it there unless you guys want to get any more into that.
No.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see what else. You tell me about. It's Friday, man. You guys tell me, because you know, even though I'm tired, obviously you see I can run my mouth. So you guys tell. What else is going on that you're all thinking about? Let's start with Rolando, because obviously, you know, me and you, Tony, we can run our mouths. You know.
Oh, you don't know about Ro?
Oh man.
Get him going on a rant. Get him going on a rant.
He's probably a little bit low energy today too. It's Friday. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, well, Tony knows that I go on my own rants to the point where Rhonda Mary was coming on. I think she came into our chat a few weeks ago on our show, and she's like, "You just got to start another show so you can just do rants." Because I was like, I can rant about things that I can't talk about on this show because this is a 2A show and it's going to go way too off the rails.
I'm wondering who's more ranty, you or Joanna? Both of you. You guys are gonna have
passionate too.
Yeah.
She's good. The problem is I usually just get started and then she just looks at me and she's like, "All right, he's gonna go," and then she's just talking to the chat. And then by the time that I'm like done, she's like, "All right, let's talk about what the chat's going on here." But I love it when she goes on her rants too because she gets passionate.
So you guys don't typically go at the same time, right? Like you don't get mad at the same time. Like if you're already mad, she's like, "Oh, good enough." Or if
I don't know. I guess
Tony.
I don't know, Tony. As somebody that watches it, what do you think? I guess it's a little bit different when you're on the inside of it. You don't notice certain things.
Oh yeah, they've tag team ranted before.
He's
tagged in before. It's great because I got to see it live when we stayed together in Vegas, which was hilarious. Because I remember the first time Ro went off, I'm in the corner like, yeah, get some.
Oh man.
It was great because I'm used to me doing it. You know, I have my Mad Minute on my podcast, and it's never a minute. Yep. It's so far. I think the longest one was 15 minutes. But yeah, I love a good rant, man, especially when somebody's
time travel.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. And Rolando actually has a much better vocabulary than I do. What was the anti-libertarian? What was the word?
Illiberal.
Illiberal. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is it? I had to Google it.
Illiberal. What did? Okay. I'm
not liberal. Sure. Yeah, not liberal. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
When I go on my rants about like the Democrats and all that stuff, I'm like, they're not even liberals anymore. They're illiberal. They don't believe in anything.
Yeah, we're back. We should be. We're not back.
I'm frozen.
Whatever data cap or whatever I had on that device, which is always my fear of like I'm gonna be on doing the show and then run into that crazy wall. So let me know if you guys if you're all still out there. Let me know. Definitely it's just me right now, so yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for the guys to call back in. That's what's going on here. I think I probably did I burn through all the data on that device, Lola? Yeah. Okay. So it looks like, let's see. Is this okay, here we go. Okay, we got the guys coming back. Okay, we're having some troubles here. So just bear with us for a second. I got to put these guys back in. We're waiting for Tony to dial back in here also. What's up? Sorry about that. That's definitely me. I burned through whatever data cap I had. The internet, man. Please, I cannot wait for Starlink. You know, I really, 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 really need Starlink, for crying out loud.
It'll definitely work for your situation.
Yeah, when is Starlink gonna get turned on in Florida in the beta? You know, somebody let me know, because I really, really need it. Agent Entropy says, on a buffer scale, you're H2. Richard Monder's back. Yeah, so everyone just come on back in here. We're waiting for Tony. Tony probably has to dial us back in here. We're waiting for him. Also, I'm sure he'll be back. Yeah, man, they don't even play around. You know, sometimes like they let you, when you hit that thing, they're like, oh, we'll let you go another gig. No, those guys just smacked me right upside the head right away. No mercy. No mercy whatsoever. Okay, here we go. We got Tony back in here. There we go.
All right.
They can't keep us down.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. There you go. We got a super chat from Rain. Let me hit the
money.
Who knows who that is singing there? Big thanks to Rain. So shout out to Rain out there. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm just gonna Lola, I think we're good. I think we're good on that. Okay.
Seems to be running good now.
Yeah. John Doe says Tesla Starlink is working up north. It's gonna be decades to crawl down south or something like that. No, it should. It's supposed to. They're supposed to turn it on in June or July.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. You know.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah. That's Gorillas and Guns, by the way. That's him singing on the money thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I'll give people. We got two choices right now. You could get the applause, or you could get the money. So there you go. I'm just
gotta put it up for a vote.
Yeah, well, you know, so if someone gives us money, you could say, hey, I want the applause, or I want Gorillas and Guns' golden voice.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so let's see. What's the next thing here that we're getting into? Next subject of what we want to talk about. Any cool gun stuff? Any gun things going on out there in the world? Let me see what I could find. I
know I'm excited about something that's happening, but I don't think it excites most people.
What is
it? And that's CZ taking over Colt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty cool.
So,
Dude, I'm like,
is the deal already, is it all done and signed and official?
I think it's all done, signed, and official, and the first thing, they're talking about the Anaconda again for some reason. I don't know. It seems to be interesting because, you know, CZ owns Dan Wesson. Dan Wesson puts out that one revolver, 357 revolver with the switchable barrel. So who knows what they're going to be doing to join those forces? I mean, will they just keep Colt separate and improve the quality control and everything with their new line of snake guns? You know what I mean? What about the Dan Wesson 1911s? Are they going to get better? Are they going to move to be built at Colt's factory? Are they going to stay overseas and be built there? I mean, is Colt finally going to freaking innovate?
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Colt hasn't had a really new handgun design that was successful since the 90s.
Yeah. Let's try to center yourself a little bit more, Tony, so we could.
Just a little left, bit. Right?
Go. No, the other direction. Other direction. There you go. Yeah.
Sorry.
A little bit. You. Okay. Right there. The other way. Other way. More. There you go. Boom.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about that. Just changed the batteries out on my optic and my flashlight.
Yeah. All we could do is speculate right now. I think that CC is probably a high value brand, but Colt has got probably the most recognition.
Yep.
Right. It's an older brand, been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see. Do they actually innovate? What do they do? You know.
I wonder if it's a does Colt still have a big enough name? Because I'm kind of thinking of like millennials and the younger generation of shooters. Like, look, there's always the stereotype in the meme of like hipsters shoot CZs and all that stuff, and you know hipsters are like the younger generation. So, did CZ like? I think this is better for Colt than it is for CZ in a way. Like, because did CZ really need like a legacy brand to help them? I could see how they can definitely improve Colt. And I think it's great for Colt, but I'm also wondering, like, it will be interesting to see what CZ does with it. Or do they
And
think there's
again,
still a big enough market that they can, capitalize off the name?
well,
Yeah.
CZ started producing here now. They're making their stuff, and
Yeah.
they were in Kansas City. They started making more stuff here. So giving them another production facility in America
Mhm.
also helps them being against being maybe a executive order shutting down guns
Mhm.
coming from overseas. I
Now
mean,
there
that's
are
why
they
IWI started making guns too.
yeah, exactly here. And for example, Walther, etc. has been doing it for a while. But are they going to stay in Connecticut? I think they already said they're not going to stay in Connecticut, right? Or we
There's
don't
no
know
reason to
anything
stay there.
officially. Yeah. Cuz
Do
that would
they
be a
keep their
problem to be in Connecticut, I think, in the first
do,
place.
do they keep the military contracts too that Colt has with making M4s and stuff like that? Or
I don't
is
think
that
you're
spun off?
I thought
Or
that
is that
went over more to FN in the last,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because
yeah.
I was
hmm
saying maybe that I could see that being CZ's motivation to get into with U.S. military contracts instead of dealing with just the Czech military.
Mhm.
So bigger
Hey,
market
listen,
for
it'll be
defense.
made here. It's a
Hmm.
quality company that also has European
Mhm.
contracts, military
Hmm.
contracts, so they
Yeah.
know how business is done. They
Yep.
know about quality control. They know about what ISO 9000. So, hey, listen, it might be a good move again because of a legacy brand name. They may sell to
Yep.
more police forces, foreign governments, and even our own government with Colt.
That's
For
true. Yep.
my take on a lot of this kind of stuff, it's really difficult for us to know unless we talk to people inside the companies that tell us directly what they're getting up to. The truth that I can say to you from what I hear behind the scenes is there's a lot of big name companies that don't really have any money, that have
Hmm.
mismanaged things, and so we're probably going to see more deals and things like this happen
Yeah.
in the next couple of years, right? Because there's not, and some people are taking like what's happening right now with everyone buying everything to get out, but there are companies that just don't have the wherewithal because of this kind of like ripsawing that the gun market has been doing for the last several years. They just don't have the wherewithal. They haven't been able to keep up. They haven't been able to keep up in terms of innovation, design, manufacturing, or they've overspent, overbuilt certain guns that didn't set. Just all kinds of craziness happen. So ultimately, it could just easily be a situation of CZ did better with their money. They have money.
Hmm.
Colt obviously didn't do so well. They don't have money. It gets sold, and no one knows what they're going to do with it moving
Well,
forward.
Colt has a long history of just blowing money out the yin yang and really
Mm-hmm.
not coming up with anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe me, the Colt Double Eagle and the Colt All American are just two
Mm-hmm.
nightmares they built back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much they depended on wars to bail them out. And that's not happening now because they lost the contract to FN. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But understand, we have a buttload of gun companies now compared to 20 years ago, compared to 30 years ago. We have gun companies on top of gun companies, especially the small AR-15 makers, the custom makers of everything. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes industry corrects itself or goes back to what it was. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that's how it
Okay.
works.
Yeah. Um, it's it's gonna be weird. I think the next couple of years, and a lot of stuff that we really can't see is gonna come to light. We can't see it now. It's been happening for a few years. There's a lot of weird stuff, and yeah, I would think that everyone, you would have to be really terrible to not make an AR-15. One, to not
Yeah.
make a good AR-15, right? You have to be like a real horrible, almost deliberately messing that up. So yeah, there are a bunch of companies making it, but there's it. So Colt is it. There's no special thing about them going on out there. Um,
They just
I go ahead.
they had that dancing pony, dude, and they put so
Hmm.
much into it. They were like, "Oh, well, this is how much our rifles cost." Remember when they were doing their own
Yeah,
retro
Hmm.
rifle,
yeah,
and it was like well over 2 grand, and I'm like, "But bruh,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing me used parts from the Filipino military because I interviewed the guy at Colt while we were
Mm-hmm.
at the Great American Outdoor Show,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at him like, okay, you keep this nice, keep it above board, but I'm like, you giving me garbage, dog. I mean, you giving me used
Yeah.
parts from somewhere, or I can buy a Brownells that every part of it is new.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why would I buy? I mean,
The
great, you got a
magic,
pony.
yeah, the magic of it being a cult is only on those die-hard guys maybe who served and used it or whatever kind of nostalgia that they had
Yep.
going. Like when I started, I remember Yak Yaz I used to do a lot of videos with only could use a 6920.
Like I
That was.
served with Colts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I served. I had the 1911
Mm-hmm.
and the Colt M16
Mm-hmm.
A2,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, so. So when I built my clone, I have a M16 A2 clone, M16 A4 clone, out of a Saber Defense kit. Saber
Mm-hmm.
Defense went bankrupt or had to sell all their assets off, and I got hooked up with someone who sold me everything but the lower receiver.
Okay.
So I purchased an Arrow Precision lower receiver that says M16A4 on it, and just put the rifle together with a civilian kit. Actually, I use a Geisley trigger,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the DMR gun, 20-inch barrel. I'm
Mhm.
cool with it. I'm happy with it. I'm not gonna spend my money on a Colt or an
Yeah.
FN because to me that extra price wasn't worth it. I was able to get this firearm, put it together for about half the price of either one of their DMR throwbacks, military forgeries or whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it, any of their clone rifles for half the price, less than half the price.
Yeah, the
Yep.
name the
No.
name brand is not magic anymore. But you know what's the big other thing that a lot of companies missed? A lot of companies think all like the their core market is military or government contracts.
Hasn't been true for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, make the guns that the civilians want.
Or maybe they see, or maybe if you want to get more nefarious, maybe they see the writing on the wall and they know that eventually the governments are going to crack down on the civilian market. So they're just like, why are we going to waste our time when they're just going to take, either
Well,
crack
the
down
end
and
result
not
of
let us
that is you have
innovate?
to sell like one of the oldest. Wait, Colt has got to be the oldest surviving manufacturer, or at least in the top 5
Yeah.
oldest, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
it's Colt. It's Colt, Smith and Wesson, Marlin, Winchester. I mean, those all came out in the late 1800s, but I think
Mhm.
Colt was one of the first ones comparatively.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe Remington, because Remington had their revolvers too, and they went into the Civil War with Remington revolvers too. But
Mhm.
most of those companies aren't around
Yeah.
anymore.
So that's massive, man, for that company to be sold. That
Yep.
Yeah,
Colt should be buying companies, not being
but
sold.
if you
So that's
if
the
you
big
ever
news.
listen
Especially
to
to a
the
European company. It's
Yeah.
not like Ruger bought them or Smith and Wesson, which is what you would have
Yeah,
expected.
a company from
Yeah.
outside of America came into America and did it better than you, and they're
Uh-huh.
buying you. That's the big news in that. And we all saw it for a long time. Like, there's nothing here that's a surprise, really,
Mhm.
right?
no,
You know,
nothing,
so-
nothing. What was it? Ruger was trying to buy someone. Ruger did buy someone. Ruger bought Remington, didn't he?
parts of
Oh,
it.
Marlin.
Parts of-
Yeah, they
Yeah.
bought the was it Marlin that they got? Yeah. So
They got
Remington
Marlin,
got
yeah.
broken up and went to a bunch of different companies, and we haven't really. This all happened early in the year, and up till now we haven't seen anything. Well, where are we? We're still kind of early in the year, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
We're about to get into May here, but we probably won't see anything coming out of all those different companies peeling off. Maybe the end of the year, maybe early next year. Because right now everyone's just trying to put guns out there or move inventory.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know?
this isn't a time for to just put a large part of your budget to innovation when
Mm-mm.
anything you put out will sell. I mean,
Yeah.
why would I put my money in that?
Yep.
Yeah. Cafe Music Lover wants to know who bought Remington ammo. Someone, there was a company that bought the name, but that was like a whole kind of crazy mixed up kind of thing. Wasn't that like the guy who was once running Remington then went off and got some other company that's really based in Canada to come back and buy the factories, right? That Remington had in where was that? Like upstate New York, Remington?
Yeah.
So yeah, some weirdness happened there. I don't know what that really means. I don't think it matters right now with what's going on with ammo. Any company that has sense that got into the ammo game can change the whole thing if they really have sense. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if they're really being smart about what they do and they're not overextending themselves with getting buildings, getting equipment, and hiring people. You know, because at some like depending on what happens here when the pendulum swings back, and that could be, admittedly, it could be 3 years or so before that pendulum swings back. Then maybe there won't be such a demand for ammo or whatever. So, well, you know.
Vista Outdoor purchased Remington.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Vista?
Yeah, ammo.
Okay.
Yeah, Vista Outdoor.
But someone bought
yeah.
the. So I think that the company from Canada is the one that bought the factories, right? But
Mm-mm.
yes, so
Wait a minute.
there was a group that bought the factories, but they're based in Canada. But the
Oh,
person.
I'm just scanning the lines. 81.4 million for assets. They bought Remington Outdoor Company Inc.'s ammo and accessories business. Vista is obtaining the ammunition manufacturing plant in Lonoke, Arkansas.
Okay. Someone bought the factory in New York, but that company, from my recollection, that company that bought the factory in New York
Mhm.
is a Canadian company
Canadian.
that does airsoft or something
Oh, really?
or
Hmm.
paintball. They do a lot of stuff in that realm. But the person who's behind that is a guy who already worked with. There's some weird stuff going on in all of this that who know. By the way, do you guys realize that the firearms industry is one of the most shady, shisty industries that ever existed? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy if you really see what's going on in the industry. It's not just NRA that's messing around doing all kinds of craziness. Trust me, there's a lot of crazy behind the scenes that people don't realize. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
including that I think to speak to Rolando's conspiracy theory there of some of these companies are trying to like sell into what's happening because hey, it doesn't matter. I think that you, Rolando, that were
Mm-hmm.
saying that. I think some of that's happening.
I think that certain people are in a position where they're rich enough that they
Hmm.
can just bail out of certain situations or
Yeah.
become turncoats if they don't care. And at the end of the day, they'll be like, "Well, if they're going to come after my family,
Hmm.
screw it. Like, I'll sell the gun company or I'll sign on to whatever law as long as
It doesn't
I may
matter
not
if they got
care."
money. Yeah.
Yeah, they got money. Some of these companies are just owned by like holding firms or
Yeah.
investor groups, so they don't have any sort of loyalty to Second Amendment. It was just like we bought this company because we thought it would be profitable, and we don't really have any like moral or political affiliation of it. So if it
Hmm.
becomes inconvenient, we'll dump it or do whatever we have to do to maintain profitability.
Yeah.
If that
Well,
means that we
that's
have
what
to make
happened with.
single shot rifles, we'll make single shot rifles, and that's it. We
Yeah.
don't care.
And I don't think it's everyone like that, like I said,
No.
but there are some people who are like that.
Hmm.
And, that's just the way it is. I think that's in everything. Kathleen Music Lover says more shisty than porn. Um, as shisty. As shisty.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem that we get into is that we treat brands like it's like sports teams. People become extremely loyal to it, and it's like it's really nothing. You have a loyalty to nothing. It's a brand, it's a business. They really don't care about you when you think about it in a lot of ways. They care about you in the extent of they want a product that's good enough quality that will keep you coming back to keep buying their product. That's probably the extent. Smaller companies, I think, care much more about their clients and what they do and about advocacy. But the
Hmm.
larger companies, it's like, look, man, it's about the bottom line. Like, we don't make that much money off these things anyway. So it's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And I think that we get upset about it, but we saw what Springfield did, and I think a lot of companies would do what they did,
Hmm.
especially if it meant survival or a competitive advantage. That's why big tech is such a big problem because it's not that they have to do anything. It's that they'll lobby for other companies to get laws that are advantageous. So even if you get rid of if you do reform on regulations, they'll be like, well, we make so much money we can pay whatever taxes or regulations you throw on us. But our competitors that are small can't afford that, so that's fine. We'll still be the top dogs, even if you like tax us 50%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I think also there's just people. So let's say you started a company 100 years ago, and you had passion and all that kind of stuff connected to it. You cared about the Second Amendment, whatever. But you get old. You get children. You get grandchildren. You get great grandchildren. They don't give a crap. I don't know where that's coming from. That sound. That's not on my end.
Yeah, what is it that they say? Like wealth typically lasts 3 generations.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got obviously the person that starts it and builds it. They care about it. They're passionate because that's their baby.
Mm-hmm.
Then their kids, they might still have seen their father or mother or whoever started the business work, so they can see the fruits of that labor and the benefits of it. But even they don't have that firsthand necessarily, from building it from scratch. And then their kids have no connection to it at that point because their parents were probably caretaking it. And now they're just like, well, this has always existed. I never saw any of the work that went into it. And I've just reaped the benefits. So they squander it or don't care about it. Obviously, that's a simplification, but that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
A lot of
some
times.
people. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to Colt. That's one of the things that happened to Colt because, darn, I can't even think of Colt's first name. Samuel Colt passed away early. And he left his wife and his son was not about that life. His son was about partying and died early on, and other partners took over Colt, and it just became corporate early. And that's why they made such bad decisions, because they did it for money. And like I said before, it took wars to bail Colt out. And that's the only reason we even still have one today, was because of that. I think Ian on Forgotten Weapons, maybe. Someone did a story on the history of Colt, and it was like bankruptcy to war breaks out till they get a contract, till a war breaks out and they get a contract, and that was their thing.
Was it CN Arsenal? It could have been Forgotten Weapons.
It might have either one, but I mean, truthfully, follow both of them, and you'll learn a lot of history.
You will.
Yeah, if you can remember all those details.
Yeah,
that's why we have YouTube.
It's like a college course on guns when you watch CN Arsenal.
Yeah,
I've
that's
never
why we
watched
have
a video.
YouTube, though.
I was like, I watched an 1.5 hour long video on the history of like World War I bolt action rifles. I was like, whoa, what just happened to me for the last 2 hours? I feel like a scholar on the Great War.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So, I love it, man.
He's cool. I've met him before. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, we never had Ian from Forgotten Weapons on the show. I'd be happy to have him on, but we had CN Arsenal.
He's a nice guy too. I got to meet him real quick.
Yeah.
I fanboyed out to him a little bit, and he fanboyed out to me, which was really weird because I'm like, wait a minute,
awesome.
Ian or
Othaius.
Othaius? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I saw Ian at whose booth was it? Who makes the Flux? I saw him at the Flux booth online when we were out at Range Day. And he just pelted me with all of his brass. So when I purchased the book, the M16 book by Larry Vickers, which Ian helped him write. And I asked for a special edition. I asked for it to be signed because I paid, that money for the first 200. And I was like, I'm going to give it away. Can you sign it? Thank you for supporting the Second is for Everyone, 2A4E podcast, blah, blah, blah. Ian wrote me a letter back too. Larry signed it like he said he would.
Cool.
And Ian wrote back on the invoice, hey, good luck with what you do. I was like, oh, that is so cool.
That's awesome.
That was the part of the deal.
Yeah, go ahead.
I ran into him at I think it was outside the ATI booth or Brownell's booth. He was just going around. I was like, oh man, that's Ian. And Joe's like, we got to take a picture with Gun Jesus. I was like, oh my God.
But Ian's always nice. Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
For the most part, most the gun guys out there are cool and happy. There's some people who believe that they're bigger than they actually are, but that's a few people. It's a few people. Most of the dudes I find are cool people, happy to have people even recognize them.
Yep.
So but Ian is definitely a good guy, and Othaius is a nerd through and through, man. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah.
I still remember the picture you and I took, Hank.
Huh? The what?
Some NRA. You and I took a picture. Me, you, Weird Beard, and Ryan. Damn, I can't even think of Ryan's last name from Handgun Radio. Ryan McChad.
Okay.
And we took the whole. He took these pictures, and I've been using it to make memes for
Oh.
like 4 years.
Oh, really? I have to see this. I can't even remember.
Oh, dude, I did one in black and white and called this soul food.
Oh,
It was
no.
just like a
Where is
Korean
this?
hip hop pop band on my IG somewhere.
Oh.
Dude, it's hilarious.
Yeah. It's funny. Sometimes I see people's pictures, like throwing up pictures. I'm like, oh, totally forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot that
Hell, I
happened.
forgot we were on the. I forgot we were on the panel together in Vegas.
Yeah, I saw you through. Well, how long ago was that? That was a couple years ago, right?
What Vegas thing? The Vegas thing
Or
when
was
we were
that
on the
last-
panel together
2020,
last
yeah.
year.
Oh, that was last Shot Show.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the one with all of us together had to be 2016, 2015
Mm.
with the four of us. I just thought it was hilarious because you
Right.
didn't know who anybody was, and you were like, "I'll take a picture with you. I don't care."
Yeah. Yeah, I just take pictures, you know. Put it out in the universe, and then I look like, oh my god, what happened to that guy?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I have a picture with me and what's his name? Precious.
Taryn?
Oh,
Taryn
Toronto
Butler.
Tactical, yeah.
Yeah, so I have a picture of me, Taryn Butler, and I made a meme, and I just put precious moments from 2016. I was like, you know what? I won't even put this out. I made it. Every now and again, I scroll past
And
and laugh.
that gate in your brain actually worked for once.
It's like, dude, you have no idea how many enemies you can make just by putting this out.
Oh, man.
But it's still funny.
Yeah, I know some crazy stuff happened with Taryn, but he's actually, you know, in person, I've always found him to be cool. I've never found him to be like, he's one of those people who will talk to you and all that kind of
Exactly.
stuff and be nice.
Oh,
and
that's
everything.
why I didn't. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't poop on him, dude. I mean, it's
Yeah.
funny to me. It's funny to us.
Yeah,
But you know how the
even
internet
weird.
wants to take it.
Yeah, some of the stuff that happened is even weird and creepy. But yeah, but the dude in all my times meeting him was never messed up.
I spoke to him for 20 minutes, and he told me about Keanu Reeves and his firearms training.
Mm-hmm.
And this was when they first released that video. And I just thought, I'm like, dude, I'm not even recording this. Then I was like,
Yeah.
why am I not recording this?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have a video with him called Gun Fu or something like that, with him talking about that and showing us the guns. It's a weird situation. Every now and then there's, you know, something that happens with someone and you don't know, like this thing or that. And I think one of the problems in the gun community, if we could stray into that realm for a little while, is that it's kind of really, really old school, and it doesn't function completely like other communities do, where I think things should come out. People shouldn't, you know, if you do something wrong, badly wrong, you should get called on it, and it doesn't necessarily happen like that. And so you might not know. You might be dealing with someone, and for all you know, that person's cool with you and whatever, but there may be all these things going on. So there's no way of knowing until either this thing blows up and happens or you run into it. And actually, to be honest with you, a lot of times people run into things and then it never comes out. No one talks about it. Everyone, you know, sweeps it under the rug or whatever. And I don't know, maybe every community is like that, right? Just, it's a kind of a thing that we do as human beings.
Well, I don't think everything needs to be thrown out to the audience because stuff has nuance. And all of a sudden you're having people pick sides over something that's not black or white. And I'm like, how's this? I'm an adult. They're an adult. This is none of my business unless it's some horrible, horrible thing that they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a few lines of things that we should not tolerate. Like, one of the things I think is that people shouldn't use their, and this is like there's women obviously in the gun industry, right? And there's women in powerful positions, but there's mostly men, right? There's mostly you shouldn't use that power against another. I don't believe in slavery or using any kind of influence you have over other people to make them bend to your will, especially in a sexual manner. That's just not right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
You
this
never heard of marriage, huh?
Well, you know, there's contracts you sign and you go into it willingly. One of those is called marriage. But you know, using that against, and I'm sure that it doesn't just happen that there's men harassing women. I'm sure there's some women harassing some men. I'm sure there's some men harassing men, or whatever, you know, because we're human beings here and these things happen. But I think that kind of stuff I would say is bad. There's some definitely other things that's not our business, and you know, other people's things. But if there's someone out there using whatever position they have against people like that, I would say that's really wrong. And there are a few things like that if genuinely that's a fact that someone's doing that, it just shouldn't be tolerated. It's not cool.
No,
Mhm.
not
You
at all.
know? Yeah.
Not at all. And the thing is, you know, I end up working with people that work with him, and I'm like, again, they're not saying this dude is the worst human being on earth. And again, then I have my own personal contact with him. Twice that we spoke. Now, not that he knew who I was from time to time, you know what I'm saying? But at least he took the time out. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that you can get caught up in things that can look a certain way. Depends on who's providing the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not necessarily saying like that situation. I think with him, from what I saw, I don't really know everything that happened there. Obviously, he would be the boss, and then there would be a young woman in charge, and he's paying and stuff like that, and that's where it crosses into that line. I think the creepiest stuff is like how they were talking about that black actor. There was a particular actor involved in that. That's in one of those cop shows. I forgot his name now. He's been acting for a long time. I think that guy was acting in soap operas and stuff like that back in the day. Someone will probably tell me what the name of is it Shamar Moore or something like that? One of those actors that they were talking about him and fetishizing him, you know, at least in the video that I saw, and I thought that was kind of weird because the girl said that black dudes are disgusting, and then Turan was like, you know, saying sexual things about the black guy. That kind of stuff, like, really, when I listened to it, I thought, this is stuff that I should never hear. And if this actor hurt, like, if you have a school or a training thing and you go there as an actor, as a regular person, and people fetishize you like that, you know, and you hear it, it's not a good thing for you to hear it. I know, I understand human beings do that kind of stuff. You know, that's the animal part of us driving us to do some things that are weird and bad in that light. But just the fact that it was out there, like, I would probably go, yeah, I don't know if I would ever go to that school again. I think if they were talking about Keanu Reeves, we would know more about it. It would be a bigger thing.
I also think I think kind of the issue here is too, it's more of a level of judgment. It's not like the way that some of these things were filmed was in secret. So it's one thing for somebody to film in secret and then try to reveal that, and then you'll know what's going on. But it's another of like, when you see somebody filming something, it's like, should you really be talking about stuff that
it's
you
like
wouldn't want that to leak out? Like, I don't
violating.
understand this level of trust. Or I don't understand, like, dudes sending pictures of like their junk or things like that. Like, who thinks that this is a good idea to like do stuff like that, especially with somebody that's not like. It's one thing to do something with like your spouse, but to do something with like strangers, like, it's like you trust somebody enough that you're going to say these things on film, or do certain things with somebody and let them take pictures. Like, that's a little bit crazy. Like that almost makes me question the judgment in a different way. It's like, come on, man, like, you got to know better than that.
Yeah.
Well, my
by the way,
problem is,
go ahead, Tony.
well, my wife is one of those people that fetishizes Shamar Moore.
Well, yes.
That's
I was
her
like,
own
well,
bad.
he's hanging out with celebrities. It's natural that they're going to talk
Yeah.
about like, oh man, this like you know, Halle Berry looked great, or Keanu Reeves look awesome. So it's natural. I would think that they would talk about stuff like that. But,
Night
you don't want to, again, not on tape.
Yeah, Night Train said it's called locker room talk. You know, here's my thing. So that conversation with Trump that they recorded, that was locker room talk for sure. He was
Yep.
So far as I know, he
Mhm.
was not talking specifically about anyone, right? He was just saying a
Nope.
thing. That's dudes, locker room talk. I'm with that.
Mhm.
I think the situation with Shamar Moore going out and training somewhere, and then those people recording a video where they're saying some stuff about him and fetishizing him in that manner, that's pretty. There's a lot of things that were kind of creepy and disgusting. I think in that one, the girl saying that black guys are disgusting. I don't know what her deal is there that she got on that, but hey, that's what she said, and she's
Mhm.
welcome to that feeling if that's whatever her particular thing is. And then
That's why I
Justin,
don't. That's why I don't have sex with him.
yeah. Yeah, dudes are pretty disgusting. Um,
I
you know, and
don't know
and
how
then
women tolerate it.
yeah, and then just like the whole thing was creepy, and most of it I felt like, man, I just don't. This should never be a thing that I see.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Well,
You
it
Yeah,
was
know,
it was.
again the
so
I was
difference
like,
was the difference between the two is one was a person that didn't know they were being recorded and was
mhm.
just being talking like people do off the cuff, and then the other person knew they were being recorded but they still spoke off the cuff, and it's like never what no.
Yeah.
yeah.
Big
No.
big lesson is when you're doing if you whatever you're doing, don't let people have access to your phone like that. Don't have your
Mm-mm.
phone on the cloud and everything from your phone is going to the cloud, and then yeah, delete stuff immediately.
Mhm.
Even if for some reason you have to do that, you got to delete it, man, because that cloud, you know what I'm saying?
And honestly,
It's
you
it's
you need to be careful nowadays because you can't trust anybody, and anybody is willing to use any leverage that they can to destroy your reputation or to get something from you to blackmail you,
yeah,
especially if you're in a position of prominence. I
yeah.
mean, it's not like look. There's legitimacy, but behind the Me Too movement,
Mhm.
ironically, a lot of it that we're seeing is from the side that started the entire
Mhm.
mess. That they're exposing themselves, which that's usually how these things are. It's you accuse your enemies of what you're actually doing yourself to hide your own sins. But there's a lot of people that take advantage of that too. I'm sure that
Mhm.
there's men and women,
Mhm.
since people nowadays everything can go either direction, but they
Mhm.
try to entrap people and say like,
Right.
well, this is a rich person, I can
Mhm.
get them into a position where I can harass them. That's why you see some celebrities when they take selfies, they won't touch the other person. They'll like put their arm like
Mhm.
where they're not making physical contact because they're like, I don't even want any sort of impropriety to be accused of here. Mike Pence famously would not have
Yeah,
dinners or meetings with women
Keanu, I
alone
think,
because it's
is
like
like
I don't
that.
want anybody to
Yeah.
question it. Now that's more of an extreme countermeasure, but it's the
Mhm.
same reasoning. It's like I kind of just don't trust people nowadays.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is like that also, if I'm not
yeah, he is.
mistaken.
Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves is the king of the hover hand.
Yeah.
He is
yep,
the king of the hover hand. I'm
Yeah.
not touching you. I'm not touching you.
yep.
Yeah. Now of all the things that happens, my freaking light goes dead.
And the lighting was perfect.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was pretty good. I got to
I
figure
thought
out
Hank
how.
was going to get into his quiet storm mode and start speaking
Oh,
really softly
yeah.
now.
I mean, it's just my light here. My light runs on a battery, and I didn't charge it, so
This is when the disco ball turns on, or and
yeah.
then
Mm-hmm.
the
I have
the soft music comes on.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah, I
do,
have a
do,
bunch of
do,
other
do, do,
lights. Let
do,
me
do.
look here and see. This is getting crazy. This is getting crazy now. Yeah, you guys just keep talking. You guys just keep talking.
Lola
We got to
gets
keep the show
embarrassed. She's
going.
like, "You're not supposed to show that mode."
Mm-hmm. This is Hank. This is Hank in the quiet storm, and I'm coming to you with the smoothest music at night. Do, 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 do. Yeah, but yeah. Let's talk about something cool, dude, because I really
Yeah,
don't want to talk about
absolutely.
current button
No.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know
I
what?
got a
Well,
chance.
go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you hit us with
Uh,
it.
I got a chance to shoot the Alien Largo
Hmm.
Ooh.
signature edition at one of the last diversity shoots, and that was great. We got one of my guys there who comes in with just the coolest stuff, and that thing is really on point. I mean, it is a great competition pistol. It has very little recoil, but at $5,000,
Mhm.
one of the ladies from A Girl and a Gun came through, Sandy, and she had a CZ Sport 2, and that is just amazing. And it was really funny because she bought her friend who also shoots with her and a business partner, and she had a Zev Glock
Oh.
34. And it's funny when you compared the three of those guns, it was like high point Glock and something high end. I mean, it was just that much of a difference between them as you shot them. But I was really impressed by all three, because these are firearms that have a minimum MSRP of like what, $1,700-$1,800. I wouldn't if I wasn't hosting diversity shoot, I doubt if I'd have them all. You know what I'm saying? Or get a chance to fire them all. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Smith & Wesson came through and had the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. So I got to run. I liked it. I liked the Smith & Wesson Shield, and this thing has, of course, 12 rounds in it. So it's barely wider. So for a concealed carry piece, it's pretty accurate. We introduce people to firearms at our events, and I try to keep the targets closer just so they can have, achieve hitting the bullseye. Putting it out further, it's negativity. I want positive reinforcement with their first time shooting a gun. So when somebody brings me a firearm on the line, I'm not going to move the target or put a fresh target up. So what I try to do is this thing I saw years ago, which is put a bullet in a bullet, put a hole in a hole, just to see how accurate or precise I can shoot a firearm. It was pretty good. I was able to get a really small cluster at 7 or 8 yards with the Smith & Wesson Plus for something being that small that my hand just dwarfs it. But I was able to get my hand completely around the pistol with a really good firing grip. And I think for something that small that weighs like 21, 22 ounces and holds that amount of rounds, I think it's a pretty good choice. I mean, Smith & Wesson just upgraded their Shield, which is the #1 seller until,
We're good, Lola. Sorry. Lola's
no
messing
problem.
around. Lola's messing around with too much stuff back here. Sorry. If I don't say something, she'll keep.
Came out.
Huh? Yeah.
She'll keep messing with it.
Yeah. Okay, Lola, you gonna unplug that thing? Okay, this is so funny. I wish I had video right now. Yeah, there's so many cables or whatever all over the place here. Lola's trying to climb in and out of the van and produce stuff or whatever. My apologies for that. Okay, you're telling us about the badass guns you were messing around with.
Well, the badass guns were cool. The badass guns were cool, but most of us not going to shoot those for real. I mean, you'll stumble across it every now and again. But Smith & Wesson came through, and they had that, and then SIG actually showed up at our event, and they had the 365. And I say this often: we're in the golden age of firearms, dude. Like, we're in it. If you remember when we were young, I don't know if you were into guns back then, but I was. They were like 2, maybe concealed carry pistols. One was the Walther PPK, and the other one was like, dang, what was that expensive I forgot the name. C-Cam.
Oh, okay. I mean, I remember the stuff like in New York was like the Jimenez and stuff like that.
Yeah, no,
like
I don't mean that.
25.
It might shoot, it might not.
Yeah, that's there are a lot of, we're spoiled for choice for sure.
And the price is not expensive. Like the C-Cam costs probably, it was high. I mean, like $1,000 high back in the 80s. And then maybe you had something like the Teutonics, which you only saw pretty much on Miami Vice and in gun magazines. You never saw at the range. So, but now we have guns that anyone can carry, that are user-friendly, that are really, really dependable. And for a price tag of around $500 or less, depending on what you get.
Yep. With night sights and optic ready in a lot of cases.
Yeah, the ammo has come up. 380 is not what it. 380 is improved. 9mm is improved. Holster like everything that goes along with it has come up.
Yeah, and now we got 3D printing that you can make your own guns at home through trial and error. Bruh, this is why we need to. I mean, I'm going to slip into advocacy, but that's why we, as a whole, need to get into advocacy and make gun control poisonous to any political party, because we have the ability to produce guns that are affordable for everyone, regardless of where you live. Affordable and dependable. That's crazy, man. That's the thing we haven't been able to do until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that Joe and I'm sure you've heard us harp on this a lot of times, Tony. That, like you said, we're in the golden age, and it comes with not just the gun technology, but even the entertainment. Like I know a lot of people harp on sometimes. Well, some gun tubers don't do enough advocacy. They don't talk about this stuff or the political stuff. I was like, they don't, but they also have millions of people that may have never been into guns at all, let alone the Second Amendment. And I know there's a difference between gun enthusiasts, gun owners, and Second Amendment advocates. It gets smaller. That group gets smaller the further you move in that direction. But I mean, to say that a lot of young people didn't get into guns because of watching like Coleon or Demo Ranch or Iraq Veteran or Kentucky Ballistics, all those guys growing up. I was into their videos, big time when I really got into guns, and they kind of normalize guns. They make the culture seem fun, friendly, and approachable. They do crazy things, but they show that they can be safe. And I think it was a very positive spin on guns that I think we didn't see before. And obviously, content that you've created, Hank, over the years, it's the same. It's the same. I think that the gun tuber community, even if they're not explicitly being, I think it would benefit if everyone talked about the Second Amendment and the history and all that stuff. I think especially with those platforms, but I think the exposure alone has done so much to help, and it helps the gun companies too, because there's nothing like a channel showing off your gun. That's basically free advertisement. Even if you give them the gun and the ammo, that's a lot less than paying for magazine spreads that would cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or however much it costs to get a TV spot. And now channels won't give you that. So it's great to get your product out there and to expose yourself and expose the community. And I think we've never seen anything like that before. And that's why there's so much desperation on the anti-gun side, that they're willing to use tactics that they've never used before, because they understand that they're now dealing with a Second Amendment community that's never existed before.
Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know if Tony wanted to chime in there, but I think that everyone doesn't have to play the same part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, it's kind of like it's counterproductive. Everyone needs to play a different part. So there are definitely folks out there who are more popular because they make the videos that are more fun and popular, right? And so that's not the heavy, serious stuff, like when you're talking about Second Amendment rights and all that kind of stuff, or even really getting nerdy about the guns or getting into details of the guns, right? The masses of people are going to want to see the fun stuff, and that's their introduction. That's how they get hooked on it. And then as they get in deeper, if they want to get more nerdy into things and find out, well, why is this like this, or what's the best thing for me to do, they'll dig deeper. And then as that goes on, at some point they'll realize, hey, I've got to fight for these rights, etc. So we're all kind of playing a part here, and it's all really important, I think.
It bothered me when now understand, I got into this for real in 2012. But I was a gun owner, or I joined the NRA in like 86, bro. I was like 16 because we were required to be on our school's air rifle team. So I can say I joined the NRA freaking 20 years, 30 years before I ever decided to be an advocate. So I think it's unfair when we put the pressure on new gun owners to immediately become a Second Amendment advocate. I think that's very unfair. But it did bother me for a while that all these popular gun tubers would make money off of the Second Amendment, but wouldn't support it, wouldn't even like throw on a shirt that belonged to a Second Amendment group, because they're like, oh, I'd lose followers. And I'm like, bruh, if these laws pass, you're going to lose the ability to earn money. And, as I got more into it, and I still a little peeved by it when people who didn't do this up until like 2 years ago, and I'm like, where the hell were you? You had, 2 million subs, and all of a sudden now you care about Second Amendment advocacy when we couldn't get a peep out of you before. But that's kind of,
You can't fake passion. You can't fake passion. If they don't have the passion that you have, Tony, I mean, we're all choosing our lane here, and yours is based on who you are as a man, as a human being, where your passions come from and all that. And yes, it's not super sexy to everyone. And you know what? It really sucks that everyone doesn't support you. I mean, everyone who's interested in guns in the Northeast should be supporting you, right? Definitely the people in New Jersey, and yes, for sure, the big guys out there who are making the money should figure out a way to support you as well, right? Even if they
But
don't want
then
to put out the message, they can support the messenger.
that's one of the things and I was like, no, everybody can't do this. Everyone has their own lane. And if you
Mm-hmm.
really aren't into advocacy, believe me, I hate politics. I say it almost every show, every one of my podcasts. I hate politics. But I know what this involves because I live on the cutting edge of the anti-gun movement here in Jersey. Like the things that people are seeing now have been the law in Jersey for 10, 15 years. So that's why I'm fighting hard, because the things that are successful here gets exported. So that's why I'm doing what I do. But it's not everybody's
Mm-hmm.
job to
Yeah.
be an advocate. And,
Yeah.
and it took me a minute to get there, because I guess, when Pete Brownell took over for the presidency of NRA, he brought in a whole bunch of YouTubers. And I was like, all right, well, maybe these guys can do something. But the minute he stepped down, a lot of them bailed too.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well,
yo, bro.
he didn't have enough time, man. If
Hmm.
we how can I put this and still, because I mean I'm cool with Brownells, and I think that
Hmm.
there's not I don't
I'm
think
not.
there's nothing
I'm not
wrong.
pooping on anybody.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
there's
pooping on
nothing.
anybody.
No, there is nothing negative in it, but the truth of what happened there is timing. Like Pete, basically, that all of that stuff happened in a very short space of time. Like
Less
maybe
than a year.
maybe 3 months. It
Yeah,
happened in
it
a
was
super short period of
bam.
time, and he was going in the right direction. He really would have needed more time, but and I, I'm not speaking for him, right? I think he could speak for himself, and Brownells could definitely speak for themselves. I think that what happened is that once that happened, they started doing the right thing. They started going in the right direction. It was the right thing to bring in these other content creators out there, especially the ones who were passionate about the Second Amendment. The problem is, at the same time, everyone started discovering the NRA is up to bullshit.
Yep.
Yep.
So the best thing he could do is go, nope, no thanks, I'm out.
My man said eject, 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 and pull, baby.
Yeah.
And he was smart. My thing was, some of the people that were passionate about it, they finally cut loose, and they were able to do things, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy that Second Amendment advocacy became to the forefront of a lot of channels, because a lot of people didn't know. And then when Coleon just stepped well into the batter's box and started talking about 2A advocacy, I think that was really a great thing. And it grew. I mean, the advocacy thing grew. Myself, Maj Toure, and Smith, I forgot, NAGA, National African American Gun Association. We all started in 2015. All of us started in February of 2015 in the advocacy thing. And I think that was good. And I think that was in part because the culture came to the forefront. This is one of the busiest times. This is more 2A advocates out there than ever before. And we have the technology now that you can do a podcast with a cell phone and a pair of headphones and get information out there. So I'm really thankful for the way it went. My attitude has changed a lot. I'm not drinking a haterade now on all these gun channels, because
You're always
like Rose
entitled
said,
to drink a little bit of the haterade and spike it, with something.
oh yeah,
until
you got to
cooler heads
sip haterade
prevail.
just to stay on point. You got to drink a haterade just to stay on point, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it was great, because it opened up some doors, and now there are more podcasts, there are more people interested. I mean, I have Patreon that have people donating, and I think it's cool, because when I first started this, it was my paycheck, any overtime I worked, and that's how I paid for the diversity shoot. And when Maj called me up and was like, Tony, man, you got to go and ask people for money, that made me uncomfortable, because this is my passion, like you said. And going, yeah, this is the fight I'm fighting. How do I ask anyone for money and to help fund it? And it worked. And I mean, I know your relationship with Yankee Marshall isn't the best, but he stepped in and was like, look, I'll help you out. And he was able to almost triple the amount of money I had coming in when I was working with him, just because, and then people found out they couldn't win a gun every month, and they backed out. But I still have a core group. I still have enough money coming in that I'm not nervous when I go into a new venue and go, oh my God, I hope I have enough to, pay for gas to get home at the end of this event. and that's because of Patreons, and that's because of YouTubers stepping out and becoming 2A advocates, or stepping into the 2A advocacy game. So I'm not going to hate. I'm just happy for it, because I know I stumbled into advocacy only after I became a instructor. And New Jersey had, I think it was 86 anti-gun bills the day after Sandy Hook.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at something like that as a gun owner, you're like, what the heck? How do you have dozens of anti-gun bills?
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And the fight has to be with us. And I think slowly every state's waking up with their 2A sanctuary counties, 2A sanctuary states, and also getting people off their asses and actually participating, going to town hall meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important, and I'm glad you and others cover it, because people go, what do I do and how do I help? I mean, that's a huge question. I know all three of us get it. What do I do and how do I help?
Yep.
And that's better than nothing.
So,
because in the 80s, 90s, there was nothing, bro. There was nothing comparatively.
I think that, you know, one of the things I would say is that it really depends on what side of the spectrum you're on, right? You know, to use some language that maybe people don't like out there, but it is a spectrum. Now, if you are an advocate to me of the Second Amendment, of what's going on here, what we're doing, it's almost a religion. This has to be something you believe in, you have passion for, and you're going to have to sacrifice, right? So now the thing is that if this is a mission that's really important to you, it's never ever going to be sexy. Ultimately, in the world, because of how the world is and because of how people are, you know, that's not sexy. So if you want to be a rock star, it's real easy. Rock star path. You know what I'm saying? You can easily go and choose to take that rock star path. And if you do the right things, you'll build something out of that. I'm not saying you'll be the top rock star, you know, but you'll build something out of that, because a lot of it's real simple. If you look at the people who are the most popular, that have the biggest numbers out of the new guys, if you look at the old school guys who were doing it a long time ago, they're successful because when they started doing this stuff in YouTube or social media, there wasn't a lot of people doing it at all. So everyone was following them and looking at them. But once everyone flooded into this, which is a good thing, for the folks who are coming along now that are successful, they have to stick to those patterns, right? They have to do these specific things. You see them doing the same kind of videos. I'm not knocking it. This is how the algorithm works and how it is, right? To build, like, no one even cares about your subscribers anymore. The algorithm definitely doesn't care how many subscribers you have one way or the other. So in order for those people to be successful, they have to keep doing the same things. This is just what it is, right? This is how you get all the big views. This is how you make the money. This is how you get the companies to send you stuff or whatever it is. That's the reality. But if you're functioning, I think, on the advocacy side of it, it's never going to be sexy to people until they get the shit scared out of them.
Yep. It isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't.
So
and
then
when they wake up, hopefully they'll do the right thing. They'll join groups that actually are effective.
Right.
Because that's a waste of time and money too. Join groups that are effective. And I mean, I'm going to throw it out there. Join your local group. Join your state group, because at least you can go to those meetings and see what they're about. You can actually talk to people that are near you. When you could join a national group, and I'm just putting this out there, you don't know where the money goes. It's kind of like donating to the United Way. You donated to the United Way, but they divvy that up how they want to. Or you donated to the Red Cross, and they divvy that up like they want to. When you donate to your local group, you know the fight that they're going to be in. It's going to be in your state. That's how you should do it. And also, you know, the diversityshoot.com can also use your money.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But it's really like donate to people that are actually putting in work. And like, how do you know? Then donate to people closest to you.
Yeah.
And you know, you can go look and you go, you know what? I don't like the way they're handling their money. I've had conversations with them. I don't dig it. I gave them $35 for the year, but now I'm out. I'm going to go look for someone else in my local area. And I think that's a good thing.
I think for a long time, everyone relied on the NRA. There was just one monolithic, and still, right up to now, it's still in effect. NRA probably has the most money when it comes to advocacy, sitting in their coffers at least, right?
Hmm.
And they get to manage that however they want to. And for a long time, it doles out to whoever their friends are and all that kind of stuff. So maybe there was a time if you came along and you're an advocate and you made your bones, you built your network or whatever, and you did things and people saw it, they might say, "Oh, here we'll go." But the reality is, there's so much going on that that's not really functioning the way that it should be functioning. Because if you do have a big organization like that, what they should be doing with the money is looking for, like, folks out there. The folks are relying on them and giving them money. Companies are giving them money. They go, hey, let's see who's out there fighting. Let's help these people out and funnel some of that money in their direction. So they see the work that you're doing in New Jersey, for example, and they go, this guy's for real. He's been doing it for a while. We can see what's going on here. Let's help this guy out, right? The thing is that, one, that's not happening right now with what's currently going on, and two, they wanted to own everyone. They wanted to have that ultimate control over everyone that they dealt with. That's what's coming back to them now. So hopefully we're going into a brave new world where people could fund you directly.
Yeah, because I've been approached by people that want to sponsor me
Mm-hmm.
and send me stuff, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
look, if your stuff sucks, I'm not using it, and I'm not going to do a review on it that's positive,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm introducing many people to this thing, like
Mm-hmm.
40, 50 at a time, now multiple times a month. These people are going to use this tool maybe to save their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're selling garbage, I am not co-signing on it. You can't write me a check big enough. I'm totally willing to sell out, but none of you people got pockets deep enough for me to sell out.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my mercenary heart, and believe me, you better bring a lot of zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not this stuff, we'll give you free ammo or a free gun.
Yeah.
I have people showing up with firearms all the time. I don't need your free gun.
You've got bills to pay, man. In order for you to kick up what you're doing to the next level, you need to do serious stuff, right? You need like a facility that you could do things out of. You need people to come in and take on hats and do stuff for you. Night Train says something here that I want to comment on. He says, in my local area, the gun rights organizations that I joined is basically a FUD club, and so
Uh-huh.
the solution to that is people like Tony and people like Maj. Other folks, if you like Coleon Noir, man, I think Coleon's doing a good job out there, right? The best
Mm-hmm.
money NRA ever spent is the money they spent on Coleon Noir, in my personal opinion, right? Because he was able to get out there and build something, and because he's genuinely passionate about this, he's stuck in this. I guarantee you that guy could go off and do anything and make a really good go of it, but his passion is what's keeping him in it. So
Well, he does it. He does his car videos, but you still see he can never escape.
yeah, you can't
the
escape
2A.
it.
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
I feel the same way. So the thing is, this whole thing that's happening, this phenomenon of social media, and then guys like Tony being able to do what he's doing, means that you don't have to be in New Jersey to support him. You could see this on wherever he goes, whoever it is, including some idiots that we all recognize universally as being idiots. Everyone could go out there and support him and help move him forward in whatever way that they're capable of doing that. This is the new way, but we're gonna have to work hard to build it up, because ultimately, if NRA was still let's say NRA handled everything properly, they didn't do anything wrong, and everyone was giving them their money and all that kind of stuff, we would still be in the position of they get to choose who the winners are. This new way is decentralized. So the people
Yeah.
who should get to choose who the winners are all you folks who are out there listening to this, watching this or whatever. You get to choose who you like, what their message is. You're like, hey, I like this person, I'm gonna help keep them in this game, and that's just what it is. Now, everyone's not gonna survive, everyone's not gonna make it, but I look at it the way I look at hip-hop. I don't, listen, I listen to the new young people out here who are doing stuff if it's catchy or whatever, but I don't respect them the way that I do the guys who I grew up around who actually built up hip hop music and all that kind of stuff, right? And they
Yeah.
never made a lot of money or whatever, but they built this thing and really got the scars and made the sacrifices and all that. And a lot of the young people out there nowadays don't even know who the hell they are, but
Yeah.
I still
They're-
appreciate them, and that's
How
that's
crazy
probably
is
what
it?
we'll be.
How crazy is it that Black Rob like couldn't even afford to be buried? You know what I'm saying? It's like dudes that were '90s hip hop,
Yeah,
and it's like, and
yeah. I
now I'm
mean, and
looking at
like
this.
when I think of hip hop, when you say Black Rob, I just hear get smacked silly, I just hear all that kind of stuff. And yes, but that's real. That's like the real artistry, the real soul, the real passion. Those guys connected to the universe, but and they got a little bit of fame and some money, and they probably mismanage it and blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. And just to think the actual talent that those guys had compared to talent that's out there now, this is the way of the world.
It is. So I look at what I do, and I look at what Ro does, and I feel it's guerrilla warfare almost.
Mhm.
Like
Oh yeah.
we are small mobile units that do our thing, that can host our podcast from somewhere,
Mhm.
that can speak on what we believe in and
Mhm.
bring other people with us that aren't stereotypical gun owners. That
Mhm.
opens that door and welcomes people that would not have been welcomed, or
Mhm.
even have access to what we say 20 years ago, or even
Mhm.
10 years ago, because
Hmm.
now it's just so easy. So many different programs allow me to do this and bring people in, and I'm very, very grateful for it. I'm on podcasts. I'm going to be going to Omaha in July or June. I forget which one, but I'm going there to end working with the Nebraska Gun Owners Association, I think it's called,
Mhm.
and that's awesome. I'm going to be with Kevin Dixie on Memorial Day weekend,
Mhm.
and I'm
Hmm.
doing
Mhm.
a 45-minute class on advocacy there.
Mhm.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I do
Hmm.
two different. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in two different ranges in Jersey. This is growing. People want me all through the East Coast, but you have to understand, I have to be able to pay for me going down there. I have to pay for replacing the ammo. Um, this is not free. This is not free. And I also, because I talked to Ken Blanchard, he was like, look, when you're doing this advocacy thing, understand you still have a family you have to support,
Mhm.
you have to spend time with. You cannot spend every waking hour doing this 2A stuff, because sooner or later people are going to stop donating, or you're not going to get as much money as you think, and you won't be able to afford it. Now you're going to be sacrificing family time and your relationship for this advocacy that can walk away and leave you at any moment. I
Mhm.
mean,
Hmm.
this dude did nationwide book tours.
You have to be selfish. You have to be selfish sometimes. You owe it to yourself and your family. Who say wants to know what is Tony's Diversity Shoot Patreon? Go ahead and
Oh,
um,
it's the 2A4E podcast. That's where you can find me on Patreon,
yeah.
and it's really great. I just put out a podcast, what, Sunday, Monday,
Hmm.
Mhm.
um, and it's called Rise Up, and it's just about us learning on our own and not just drinking the Kool-Aid.
Mhm.
And regardless who it comes from, even pro gun groups, it's like, look, some of their stuff is definitely funding.
Yeah.
Sometimes they cause a panic just to get you to reach in your pocket. Take a moment out and go, wait, every damn thing in an emergency. This ain't the Super Friends, man. Calm down.
Mhm.
You know, you can afford to donate what
Yeah.
you can donate, but donate to people
Hmm.
that are actually in the fight.
Yeah. Lots of
And,
people
for
use that
things,
strategy, by the way, not just the NRA.
oh,
Yeah,
There's
the
some
fear
believe me, I
mongering.
know.
Yeah.
there's some individuals out there using that strategy. I would agree with what Ken Blanchard told you. I think that I try to practice that, man. You know, I don't like we're all making sacrifices and not being with our family, and on the flip side of that, you have to like put this aside sometimes and be with your family and be there with especially your wife, right? You need to spend time with that's to me that's the most important person in my life. Is
Yeah.
Hmm.
Lola, and I try to spend time
Absolutely.
with her and do stuff, and I try to be selfish sometimes, and that's why I don't hide things from people. Like I know there's some people that want me to pretend like I'm dead broke and I can't, I'm not gonna look starving to you guys unless I'm for real starving. So I do things for myself and for my family, but at the same time, yes, ultimately anyone doing this is making a massive sacrifice to do this, especially when there are folks like us who look at it and know, like, hey, all I have to do is follow this formula and just keep doing this particular thing here all the time, and don't annoy the gods of YouTube by talking about politics and all that kind of stuff and getting the algorithm to go against me or whatever. You know, it's up to the people to do it. But at the same time, I agree with what Maj is saying. Like, hey, when a certain time comes and people really aren't getting behind this, then I'm just going to be out. And people could be mad if they want to be mad or whatever, but I know I put my time in. And I would say that goes for all of us, for everyone who's genuinely, whose intentions are genuine for what they're doing. If your intentions are genuine, then you will reap the rewards. If you don't reap it here, I think you'll reap it somewhere else. But ultimately, man, I feel the same way like Marsh. When that time comes, I had to make tough choices and be like, hey, I fought as much as I could possibly fight. If other people didn't get into it or appreciate it or whatever, or it just wasn't good enough, maybe some other person can step up and take the mantle up and convince people better than me.
Yep. Because that's it. I know what I'm doing is finite. I know I have a time frame that I'll be able to do this. So I'm hoping, because of the outreach I do, that across every demographic, that somebody will be 2A4E, the next generation. So that means someone Hispanic, someone Asian, someone gay, someone, I don't care. I was talking to a friend out in California, and he wanted to do it, and he met the optic, and we were talking about doing that, and he passed away, which really sucked. But I have people, and this sucks too, because of diversity shoot, and I'll just put it out there because I don't hide crap. They're white guys that want to help me. They want to run it in their area, but I'm like, bruh, when you're talking about diversity shoot, the optic is important too, as sad as it sounds, and almost as racist as it sounds. You standing up a diversity shoot, the second is for everyone, but being a middle-aged white guy with the flannel shirt and the trucker hat is not going to bring in people that look like me or bro at the same rate as if one of us were doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because people, when they first get into something, they want to see someone that looks like them.
Yeah, I think I understand that, but people can't help who they are. Just like we can't, like, this is the skin that we were born in, and everyone has the skin that they were born in. And I think that a lot of those guys who genuinely want to help, they're on that same side. Like, hey, I want to help, and I'll stand up and do this, but I can't make the black people's, the Latino people's, I can't make them come over here. I could say this is for everyone. I could be welcoming to everyone. But if people look at me as the white dude and go, I don't know. Yes, this is the problem we have as human beings. We're like crabs in a barrel, and it's really, really tough to climb out the frickin' barrel without, getting at the other crabs, right?
Yeah, this is why.
Let me let Ro go for it, Ro.
Yeah, go, Ro.
Oh, well, kind of to go back on kind of what Ken Blanchard said, there was also something when he did one of his podcasts that he talked about, if you can find somebody who can be a partner with you in this fight, embrace that. So, I'm kind of unique that I get to do this with my wife. Hank, you get to work with Lola, on the show and things like that. So I think it helps. I'm extremely blessed that Johanna is my partner in this, because in the beginning it was me kind of getting into this with my passion. She always supported me, and then she got inspired to come along, and she's had a lot of success in bringing in people that I would never attract or anything like that. And I think that being a married couple that openly talks about this, and obviously being Hispanic, that can help. It's something different. The things that we talk about, how even we have, the things in the background of our room here, it makes a difference, and it helps that you can have somebody there that's your partner. Johanna and I keep each other balanced. We can pull each other back, when we get really upset about stuff, either in politics or, in advocacy, and keep each other grounded. And it's great to have somebody there. When we travel, we're always there together to back each other up and experience those things together. So it helps if you have a spouse that can get into it and is willing to help you out and jump into that. It makes it easier too when you have to make the sacrifices, because you know you're doing it as a team, and that they understand that you're in it together. So they know, yeah, I know the BS that you're going through. I know the sacrifices that we have to make and the politics that we have to get involved in, or the people that we have to deal with that are like sketch, like politicians or sponsors and things like that. So it's great. It's great to have Joe there with me every step of the way.
That's always a good thing.
It is great, dude, because I have good people that work with me, but they're not dedicated to working with me. And that's cool, because again, they're putting their time in. They're asking me for help. This particular dude, it's confidence also in the fact that if I go out, can I host an event in a state I'm not from? How many people do I go in and bring in and put butts in seats if we don't do prep work before the event? Because it's not like I can do, 4 radio shows in Oklahoma without somebody setting that up in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? So that takes work. The thing going on in Nebraska, that's going to be them putting in the work prior to me showing up. I'm going to roll in on a Friday. I'm going to do radio shows that whole day. We're going to do the show on Saturday, and then we'll probably do more radio shows on Sunday. But that's going to be a real working weekend for me, and I have to trust that the people are setting it up are going to do the work, that this thing will keep going after I leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a lot. Me rolling into PA, I tried to roll into New York earlier. Oh, it's like the rules in New York. One, no handguns. I can't show up with any handguns. There's going to be full metal jacket ammo. If I bring a firearm at all, I'm going with the Henry lever actions. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm bringing. It's a lot. And now, let's not dismiss I'm coming into the state with out-of-state plates. I'm a black dude. I don't know what. Look, I've only been black, so I don't know why I get pulled over. You know what I mean? But it's like things could happen, and people go, "You're being paranoid." Understand, my very first diversity shoot was February 2015. State police showed up at that event. I had 4 effing people there, bro, and the state police showed up because I'd advertised on Facebook through word of mouth.
They keep in track. Yeah, they keep in track.
So don't tell me they don't, because there were 4 of us and a cop.
Yeah. What I would like to do, look, and we're over the 9 o'clock hour. For people listening out there, if you're a regular person and you support what I do, you support what Rolando does and what Tony does, thank you. If you're a company and you support what we all do, thank you. Because there are companies, like someone was asking me about the Franklin Armory hat. Franklin Armory supports me. All the companies that you guys see on here that I say, hey, these guys support us. They support me. They support these guys. Thanks to all those people, and I would encourage more companies to support the folks out there and more people to support these guys. If you don't like me, but you like Tony, support him.
Yeah.
Big shout out to High Point, man. High Point's good people. Barnauls, as well. Pretty much they go hand in hand. And there are companies and there are people out there who support us, and we appreciate that. Shout out to NOC. You're just going to keep switching hats here, I see. Look, we're doing this. What we need is more. And maybe we need people to help tell the folks out there about more people. I think you should have Maj Toure, Tony Simon, Puerto Rican Pistolero, Hank Strange, Colio Noir, all the folks out there, someone sitting out there looking at us right now that's thinking about doing it wherever they are. Everyone deserves to be out there. More of us need to say, hey, I don't want to be the person out there, so I'm going to help and support the people who are the people putting their faces out there. So, I really appreciate that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around here and let everyone tell you guys exactly how you can support them. And I'm going to start with Rolando. I'm pretty sure that Tony Simon and myself, we're the probably barking the loudest here, man. So jump in there and tell the folks where they can find you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me at Puerto Rican Pistolero on all the major socials except for Facebook, pretty much. And you can find my wife at Latina Locked and Loaded. Together, we're the Locked and Loaded Latinos. We have a YouTube channel and a podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a great time. It's about 2 hours long, and we basically go mostly about 2A, but we talk a lot about pop cultural issues, political rants, and things like that. So, and obviously, it's my wife and I, and occasionally we have guests on. So come check us out.
Yeah, what can people do to support your show, though? Do you guys have any?
We have a subscribe star that you can check out. It's linked in all of our videos and Cash App if you're into that kind of stuff, like the young folks are. So
Okay, very nice. Thank you. All right, Tony, hit the people up out there. I know you got a lot of stuff, so go for it.
All right. Well, I do a couple of different podcasts. I do, of course, the 2A4E podcast. That's the second is for everyone. And you can support that through Patreon or even go to diversityshoot.com and donate to our PayPal. Even $1 a month is great because, again, it takes the pressure off. I know I can pay for stuff when I get that check. The other thing I also host is self-defense. I'm on Self-Defense Radio Network with, hey, what's the name of my show, Ro?
what was it? Self-defense stories.
It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday.
That's right. We're part of the Self-Defense Radio Network too. Yeah, self-defense stories. All right.
Yeah. Civilian self-defense stories, gun stories, something like that. I'm sorry, but my brain is all frazzled.
He's like Jamaican. He's partly Jamaican. He has too many freaking jobs.
And I'm also on the Firearms Radio Network on the Gun and Gear Review podcast. So. Yeah, if you guys want to help out, that's great. This is a passion of mine. I've been in the firearms since I was a child. I competed. I still compete every now and again. I even hosted my own competition called the Minuteman Challenge. So, yes, I'm definitely into this. I want to make the second grow. I'm willing to go to other states to put work in, and that's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate any help I can get. This is my thing. I don't talk about it much, but I am a Christian, and it was really hard that first year. You know, I used up all of my everything to do what I did. And when I was in Georgia at the NRA, I went and visited the Martin Luther King Jr., historical site and watched the movie that it talked about Black, civil rights movement. And I prayed. I prayed that I did the right thing. I actually prayed to God that this wasn't my ego. You know what I mean? This wasn't some narcissistic urge, that what I was doing was pure. And the reason I was doing it was for future generations and for this country. And I really felt that I did the right thing and I'm doing the right thing. So that's where I'm at. That's why I asked for funding for people that really want to make a difference, because I really want to make a difference. Yeah. So if you want to help out, diversityshoot.com, you can donate there. And thank you for any support, including sharing me on your social media. Share us on the social media, man. That helps. That gets word out. Yep. That grows us in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had one of our listeners actually find out about Tony's diversity shoot from watching our show. Yeah. So, and they were local to him and went to, I think, your last diversity shoot and had a great time. So it was pretty awesome.
Showed up with his entire family. It was great.
Yeah. Who says I signed up for Tony's Patreon? Awesome. I'll hit the applause for that. Listen, there's like a fight going on for the Second Amendment everywhere. I think it's really, really tough in places like New Jersey where Tony is. And it really is going to take a lot. So, if you have a way to help him out, please do it. Like you said, even if it's just sharing his stuff on social media, it's all appreciated. It's all one little step forward at a time. That's what we're trying to do here with everything that we do. So with all of that being said, we're going to come back and do words of wisdom. Who wants to hit us with the words of wisdom? Come on, who's got the stuff? You want to go with Tony, Rolando?
You gotta do Tony this time. I was on last Friday.
Okay, all right, so cool. So we'll do Tony when we come back here. I really want to thank you guys for being patient and putting up with us. Big thanks to Franklin Armory for sponsoring the show. Of course, U.S. Law Shields, you guys should go check that out and sign up and protect yourself in case you have to protect yourself. I would say it's a good thing to do, and we've got some, we can save you a little bit of money with that if you want to use the link that we have in the description here. I'm going to be right back here in a second. I'm going to run in the end. Here we go. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate all you guys out there, all the people listening to us around the world as well as right here in America. We appreciate you guys, and Mr. Tony Simon, Second Amendment is for everyone. What's your words of wisdom, sir? Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. Before you hit that, let me get this going here. We got $2.
Money.
Armament and Axis. He says, hit the money and the clap for this.
Nice.
Demanding. So demanding. Go ahead, Tony. Sorry, man.
All right, words of wisdom. Don't even know what I'm doing here, but I'm going to pull this one out. Everyone isn't going to be Martin Luther King Jr. Everyone isn't going to be Malcolm X. Everyone isn't going to be the leader of a civil rights movement, but everyone can assist it by doing their part. Anything from sharing on your social media to downloading our podcast to donating $1 if you can regularly, or $1 if you can every now and again. Talking about us and being a good representation of a firearm owner. Just being a good human being you are, because most of us know to be a firearms owner, you have to pass multiple background checks anyway. Be the decent human you are. Go out and do things in your community if you already want to do them. Just slowly let people know that, yeah, you're a gun owner. And that person that's been volunteering with the kids' baseball games, kids been volunteering at the soccer game, that EMT. Yeah, it's not a bunch of weirdos that wear flannel, have beards, and love their guns more than children. No, you are stellar people that are part of the community, and you make your communities work. We probably have more volunteers that are gun owners than most people even know about. Be that good human being and just bring more to the table. Don't hate. Don't gatekeep. Don't say if you don't own this, you can't be in our group. Nope, everyone's welcome. The Second Amendment is for everyone, and make that a part of your life. Well, those people, I don't want them here. No, those people have to be here too.
Mm-hmm.
Grow the community, welcome people in the community, be a good example of the community. And most of you doing that already. Just keep it up. Just keep up the good work and be awesome, because I already know you are. Those are my words of wisdom.
Absolutely. Thank you. One last thing, addendum I'm going to add to this. Down the Barrel LLC says, when can we get everyone together for a 2-8 collaboration? That's kind of like, that message just came in. Listen, we've got to talk about it and make something happen. Maybe we could put something together at some point here. We'll all figure that out. So hopefully we will, Down the Barrel. I don't know if you know Down the Barrel LLC at all. So if not, we'll figure that out moving forward. So he comes in and he drops this at the last minute. But yes, we'll make something happen. Big thanks to Rolando, Puerto Rican Pistolero, for coming in here, as well as Tony Simon. 2A is for everyone. I appreciate you guys coming in here on a Friday, keeping my energy going, putting up with my shenanigans here. I appreciate it, and we will see you guys. Be safe. Everyone's going dark now. Are we going dark now? Is that what it's about?
This is my Hank Strange impersonation.
Yeah, Hank Strange impersonation.
No one can do it. Yeah, no one can do it like Rolando. We're out of here. Peace. We're out.
There we go.